Great white sharks are incredible creatures. We see some sharks in aquariums, but why never this species? Here are the top 10 reasons why they have never been successfully kept in an aquarium. Number 10. It always fails. If you have ever wondered why there are no great white sharks in aquariums, it's not for a lack of trying. Institutions all over the world have repeatedly tried to stick great white sharks into captivity. And while many people assume this always fails because great white sharks are simply too dangerous, that is simply not the case. There are so many reasons why great white sharks are unable to be held in captivity. Any attempts to keep a great white locked in a cage has ended disastrously. In aquariums from Las Vegas to Japan, great white sharks have been held in captivity and then swiftly perished. The longest a single great white has been kept in captivity was for 198 days. The quickest a great white has ever died when put in captivity is about 3 days. There are a few major problems, one of them being that the tank required to hold a great white would be way larger than any aquarium could handle. Then there is its diet to consider. And you also have to think about the behaviour of the great white sharks themselves and what they do in the ocean. Number 9. The Monterey Bay Aquarium disaster. Attempts to hold a great white shark in captivity started in the early 1970s. Major aquariums began to advertise great white sharks on display. However, they never survived very long in their tanks. They wouldn't eat, they couldn't swim properly, and after anywhere from a few days to a few weeks, the shark would be dead. Prior to 2004, the longest a great white shark ever remained living in an aquarium was only 16 days. But that all changed in 2004 when the Monterey Bay Aquarium in Las Vegas kept a great white shark, albeit a young one, in captivity for an astounding 198 days. But this was no easy feat. They had to design a special tank for the ocean animals. Plus, the shark was just a baby. It was only about 4 feet long, whereas an adult great white shark would be at least 15 feet long. In any case, the aquarium decided to release the shark after 198 days. This happened after the great white attacked 2 other sharks that were sharing its tank. They weren't great whites, but it still attacked and killed them. Since then, the Monterey Bay Aquarium has tried again and again to keep a great white shark, but it never worked. After they had to release their 6th great white back into the ocean after it only survived 55 days, they ended their exhibition program in 2011. Number 8. They need to swim. A big problem with having a shark in captivity is that sharks need to swim. In the ocean, sharks are constantly swimming all day long. They are nomadic and can roam super long distances in a single day. Obviously, they are not able to swim dozens of miles in whatever direction when they are living in a tank. And I'll tell you why this is a huge problem. Most sharks breathe by filtering oxygen from the water that passes through their gills. Most fish can do this by using their mouths. They don't need to be moving all the time, but with great white sharks, they must be constantly in motion for the water to enter their gills so that they can breathe. This means that when they stop moving, they stop breathing. This is why so many sharks that were held in captivity had an extremely difficult time. They would hit the glass of their enclosure so often that they developed sores from the damage. These beasts are not meant to be kept in a cage. They literally can't breathe. What do you think about keeping sharks in an aquarium? Let me know in the comments below. And be sure to hit that subscribe button for more fascinating animal videos. We have lots more coming up. Number 7. Japan tried it again. Even though the Monterey Bay Aquarium put an end to their exhibition program in 2011, other nations and other aquariums continue to try and harness the power of a great white shark for tourist dollars. One of the most recent lessons came from Japan. It was back in 2016 when a fisherman caught an 11-foot great white shark in their net. The great white shark went from the fisherman's net straight into an aquarium in Okinawa. It was displayed in the Sea of Dangerous Sharks exhibit from between January the 5th, 2016 and its death on January the 8th, 2016. If you need me to do the math for you, that's a whopping 3 days of living in captivity. According to the press reports, the great white shark refused to eat and took a dark turn for the worse. As you can imagine, this sparked outrage all over the world, with an official representative of PETA saying that keeping the shark in captivity was wrong and cruel. Suffice to say, the Japanese probably won't be trying to do that again. Number 6. It takes a lot of water. You already know that great white sharks require an outstanding amount of water so that they can swim continuously to keep the oxygen flowing into their bodies. Because of this, you would need an unrealistic amount of water to keep a great white shark contained properly. It would require a fantastic amount of money, a miracle of engineering, and a cage more expensive than any aquarium is willing to purchase. Just as an example, the tank that was specially designed by the Monterey Bay Aquarium to hold their baby great white shark contained 1 million gallons of water and reached a depth of 35 feet. And this was only for a baby shark. What were they expecting to happen when the great white grew to be 15 feet long? It wouldn't have even fit inside the tank even a little bit. In order to do this properly, you would need to create a shark tank the size of a small village. That way the shark could do laps at its leisure all day long without ever feeling like it was trapped. Number 5. Transportation is an issue. One of the biggest problems has to do with transportation. Don't forget, the only way to capture a great white shark is to do it in the ocean. You would actually have to go out into the ocean, somehow scoop the shark out of the water, and then drive it halfway across the country to whichever aquarium wanted to house the beast. As you can imagine, between the trauma, the displacement, and the funds it would take for such an expedition, it's just not worth it. Take the baby shark that was exhibited for 198 days in the Monterey Bay Aquarium, for example. According to the local news reports back in 2004, the shark was first accidentally caught by a halibut fisherman off the coast of Huntington Beach. The shark then had to be transferred to the aquarium's ocean pen, where it was closely monitored, and transferred yet again to the aquarium using a special 3,000-gallon shark tank on wheels. You can't just FedEx a great white shark. Number 4. French aquarium and the hammerhead shark. It's not only great white sharks that have a hard time being kept in captivity. In 2019, an ocean conservation group filed a lawsuit against a French aquarium because of the deaths of 30 endangered hammerhead sharks. This happened at the Nausicaa Aquarium in the French city of Boulogne-sur-Mer. They had initially acquired their hammerhead sharks from the waters of Australia, but they all died from fungal infections since being brought to the aquarium. This comes from the largest public aquarium in all of Europe. And it's especially tragic considering these sharks are supposed to live for between 20 and 30 years in the wild, but they only lasted 8 years in captivity. The hammerhead shark is on the red list of endangered species at the International Union for Conservation of Nature. And while the aquarium has defended its collection of the hammerhead sharks, conservationists were still extremely unhappy that such a thing was able to happen. Number 3. Great white robots. If you still want to get your fix of great white sharks, a new project is underway. A Hollywood robotics company is trying to replace sea life attractions with robots, including robotic dolphins and great white sharks that are 100% animatronic. This could potentially change the way animals are kept in captivity. The San Francisco-based special effects company named Edge Innovations is trying to revolutionize theme park shows in a time when more and more of the public cries out against the cruelty of keeping animals, especially wild animals like sharks and dolphins, locked inside cages. The long-term vision is to fill aquariums with robotic sharks, dolphins, and whales, allowing visitors to get a glimpse of 100% anatomically correct sea monsters, except that they are robots. The most famous project of the company was when they created free-swimming orca whale robots for the 1993 movie Free Willy. While this project is still in its developmental stages, it could be a huge step forward in the way we experience wildlife at the zoo. Imagine if they could reconstruct a megalodon to 99% realism and have it swimming around at your local aquarium, no different to watching the real thing. This could be the first step to a robotic Jurassic Park. Number 2. Keeping great white sharks alive. While some people may think the best way to see great white sharks is in captivity, it's actually better if we can just keep seeing them in the wild. The best way to see a great white shark is by going on an expedition into the ocean and being lowered into a shark-proof cage. But to do this, we need to stop fishing sharks and cutting them up for their fins. On the front line of the efforts to conserve the entire species of great white sharks is the island nation of Taiwan, who in July 2020 formally announced a ban on fishing great white sharks. This comes straight from Taiwan's fisheries agency. The regulations require that all Taiwanese fishing boats are to release great white sharks back into the ocean if they are caught by accident. While this might not seem immediately related to great white sharks being kept in captivity, it's actually a great step towards ensuring they never get abducted from the ocean, sent across the world, and left in an aquarium to die 3 weeks later. If more countries adopt regulations like this, we can continue to see great white sharks swimming in the wild for years to come. Number 1. Never seen at the zoo. Great white sharks are not the only animals that can't be kept in captivity. Because of the nature of certain animals and their needs, there are a handful of other creatures just like the great white shark that you will never see in captivity. One of the most notable is the mountain gorilla. Although many attempts were made in the 1960s and 1970s to capture mountain gorillas and breed them in captivity, it has never worked. Every mountain gorilla ever caught and stuffed into a cage has been affected by stress and subsequently perished due to disease. Two of the most exciting sea creatures, the giant squid and the narwhal, have also been impossible to capture. First of all, the giant squid is so elusive that scientists barely even get to look at one, so the chances of an 80-foot squid ending up at your local aquarium is basically zero. As for the narwhal, which is known as the unicorn of the sea thanks to its long tusk, it's also super elusive. Narwhals hunt in deep water and are hard to catch. According to a Canadian narwhal specialist, Pierre Richard, most researchers only ever catch a glimpse of a narwhal throughout their entire lives. While a narwhal can live for over 100 years in the wild, they die very quickly when stuck in captivity. You won't be seeing a unicorn of the sea at the zoo probably ever in your lifetime. Do you think it's right to try and keep a great white shark in an aquarium? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for all the latest videos. See you again soon.